Lynn, tell me how this strike has personally affected you and your family.
Personally, it's financially affected me in a lot of ways. I mean, we get the first 7 weeks, we only got $300 a week from the strike fund, and compared to what I was making, that's a severe cut. So I've managed to keep up on the important bills like the mortgage and insurance and stuff like that, but there's things I'm getting behind on, but I've talked to creditors, and so far they've been willing to work with me, and so that's a good thing. But
You told me you've been at the plant for 15 years. What's your reaction to how the company has treated its union represented workforce in terms of this pay cut, health benefit cut, and now what's basically grown out to be a very long strike?
well, even though I've been there 15 years, Dr. Pepper's actually only owned it for 2.5 years, roughly somewhere around there. And it was a great company to work for up until that point. And one thing that I haven't seen, all the articles have been in papers, TV, whatever, they don't really mention that this didn't start right now. This started 2.5 years ago when they took over. Anything that we had that was a perk or a benefit that was not black and white in the contract was taken away within the first
What's
month.
the morale been like out on the line with your fellow union workers?
The morale has gotten stronger as time's went on. I mean, different things they've done throughout the strike that are pretty low blows, in my opinion, have really brought the union together stronger than I've ever seen it. Stronger than I actually imagined it could be. And one of those examples would be the 401k plan. That's our money in that plan. But because it's their plan and we're still employees, we haven't been terminated, they froze that plan. So our people can't get their own money to help their families out through this.
When this strike started, maybe it was thought of being a local story, quote unquote. It's really snowballed into something much, much larger, hasn't it?
Yes. I actually did an interview with the New York Times a couple weeks ago, and I believe that article ran last Wednesday on the 4th. And so it's great. It's across the nation at this point and internationally. I mean, Canada several weeks ago started boycotting the product and inspecting it thoroughly before they'd let it across the borders because they know it's not being made by the right people and they don't feel it's a safe product anymore.
How does that support make you feel?
It makes me feel great. It's amazing, and like saying, today's the second day of week 12, and the support's stronger and stronger.
If you didn't have a union here in Williamson, what would have happened to you?
We would probably be working for $14 an hour, and we'd probably have even more severe cuts than what they want to take right now. And I think that that's another thing that kind of upset me personally with some of the other media stories is because they don't represent the whole picture. They focus in on the $1.50 an hour. They focus on the medical, the 401, and the pension. That's the main things all these people focus on. And that's not what this is about. It's not about the $1.50. It's about the entire package. And that entire package was 80 pages long, and it was all concessions on our part. The only thing they were willing to give us for 80 pages of concessions was 2 more funeral days for a step-parent.
I read somewhere in one of the reports that the company basically is likening its workforce to a quote-unquote commodity. Yes, that in good times you're paid more, in bad times you're paid less. How does that personally make you feel when you have a company that's made $555 million in profit describe its workforce as a commodity?
It makes me feel bad. It's like, because a lot of these people, I've worked with them for years and I had a lot of respect for them, but then they back up a statement like that and it makes you wonder how much they really did appreciate you. And on top of that, you know, the other thing that upsets me personally is they've made it in all their press articles and stuff sound like they have to have these concessions to stay alive and be competitive. And to me, that's a totally ridiculous statement, but most people don't know as much as we know being involved, and today's a good example. You look over there now, they just hung a big banner up. They're going to pay half price admission for anybody that walks into the state fair. That's thousands and thousands of dollars. And like I say, we're in the second day of week 12, and the money I've seen them spend in the 12 weeks, they could have probably paid all of us to do our normal job with a raise for the next 2-3 years. So they can't say that they have to have this to be profitable and competitive, or they couldn't be spending the money they're spending.
I had the opportunity as a visitor to travel with our local 220. There were 6 of us that were able to go to the RWDSU 2010 convention. Monday, we were able to sit in on the opening day, and they brought each one of us up to speak on the striking behalf so that they could talk to people who were actually on the line so that the other members of the unions that were there could understand us and why we were there, and the support was overwhelming.
What's it going to take to bring this to a fair and equitable end?
I don't know, honestly. When I've reached the 12th week, I feel like they just want to break the union and that they're not going to stop until they've completed that. I don't think that they care about any of us on a personal level anymore. It's become more of a, I don't know what it's become for them, really. I can't figure it out.
Does that make you stronger in your conviction in terms of what you're doing?
Yes, it's been a roller coaster ride. Emotionally, mentally, financially, it's been crazy out here for me personally. I thought we'd be out here for 4 weeks and we'd be right back to our job. It's sad because I feel like the consumers are not getting the product that they deserve. You figure you have anywhere from 2 years to 40 years experience in there. And I know that the people that are in there now don't have the experience to give the quality that we could.
And then there's the unknown, the aggravation of really wanting to get to, get back to negotiations and come up with some type of a contract that'll work for all of us, because it's not doing them any favors either,
You've had quite the spotlight focused on Williamson these past several weeks.
Never really expected us to end up being, basically the poster child, if you will, of corporate America. But now that we're doing it, it's like, we're okay with that. It's like, someone has to drive the fight, so we're here doing that. I'd never worked in a union shop before until I came to work at this one. When I first came here, I knew very little about unions, and now with the support of the entire union and everyone working together to try to maintain it, obviously it's done well for us over the past with benefits, pay, and even job classifications and everything within the factory. It was very good. So without the union, I'm sure we wouldn't be where we are today.